Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt and I have braved the Florida alligator-infested hurricane. Well, let's just say Florida. And we watched Crawl, the latest film from one-time horror wunderkind Alexandre Aja. Is it a return to form or a toothless bore?
Nailed it!
Then, Matt and I are going to discuss David Robert Mitchell's Under the Silver Lake. This A24 produced film that has bounced around for almost 2 years now. It received a very limited release and it was dropped on digital platforms. Was Under Silver Lake done dirty, or was A24 onto something? Then we're going to go over the big releases on Blu-ray and DVD, featuring the straight-to-DVD and streaming picks of the week. And then finally, it's the return of the first-run Rotten Tomatoes Score Contest. We'll explain what that is as we get to that segment. But let's start everything off with a clip from Crawl.
Down here. Okay, hold on. Don't move, hold on. Come here, Pete. Need your coffee? Pete, you hear that?
Alligator food. So, Matt, Kaya Scaldolero plays Haley Keller. She is currently at the, is it University of Florida? Is that?
Yes. Yes.
She's a swimmer there, trying to make the travel team or the team, whatever the case may be. And she's having some issues, Matt. She has some strife in her family that she's currently dealing with. There's a nasty hurricane barreling down on Florida, and her father is not responding to the family's calls. So she takes a drive down 95 to check on him and see what happens. She finds her father badly injured and now has to attempt to survive as their house becomes flooded due to this hurricane, and they're just alligator after alligator appears trying to pick them off, and then everybody who just happens to pop by one by one. Matt, what do you think? Has Aja returned to form? Listen, I was a big fan of his. I know some people have problems with high tension, but I enjoy it for what it is. If you just don't think too much about the ending, I think it is a great entry in the French new wave horror that began in the early aughts at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But then kind of a lackluster follow-up with Mirrors, and then Horns with Radcliffe, which is an interesting film.
Yeah.
I just don't know how successful it is.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Aja? Is this return to form, or is it time to move on from Aja?
It's tough to say. It's tough to say return to form, because I think some of his most fun films, or at least the films that were most interesting, have been kind of in this wheelhouse, kind of pulpy, campy horror films that somehow manage to take themselves maybe a little too seriously. But I think that's what this is. I mean, I think this is still not as good necessarily as The Hills Have Eyes or High Tension or something like that.
I can't believe I didn't mention The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
A remake that is far superior to the original film. Sorry, folks.
Oh, yeah.
But it is.
It is. It's way, way better. And things like Piranha 3D were fun.
Yeah.
But this is kind of in that vein, except it's not. It is what it is. I mean, it's basically two people trapped in a basement or a house through various parts of the film, while a bunch of alligators try to get around and eat them. There's not really a whole lot of subtext you can get into this thing. It's fun for what it is. I mean, I had a decent time watching it. Like I said, if I had one criticism, I think he maybe plays it a little too straight. I think he's a little too serious with the material and for given what it is. But otherwise, I had a decent time. It's fine.
Listen, I walked out of this thing today, so everything is fresh in my mind. And my first thought was, what a relief. How refreshing. First off, Matt, 87 minutes. Now, I've found as I get older, the longer films, it's just, like last week we had, 2.5 hours for Midsommar, 2:10 for Spider-Man.
And the next film we're going to talk about is also 2+.
Yeah. So, Crawl, it's so refreshing. Because 87 minutes, man, it's down and dirty. You're in and out of there. So what this thing does well, Matt, Pacing, chaos, gore, violence, menace. It serves up each of its victims in a timely manner, right? It doesn't rush everything in, but it perfectly sets its pace when it comes to killing everybody. And spoiler alert, I'm just going to do a little reveal because I found this online, and I got to tell you, before I saw the film, and I was a little disappointed, but as I watched the movie, I was pleased that I knew this. So, just spoilers, again, spoilers. The dog survives. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank God.
I don't know if I could have handled it if he didn't. The things it doesn't do well. Family drama. The film slows to almost a halt when her and her dad try and kind of work through some of their issues, right? And other times, too, they act incredibly irrationally. If there's a Category 5 hurricane bearing down on you, you can't find your father, you're not going to stop to lollygag at his new condo for 10 minutes looking through old pictures that he's got strewn about the place, right? You're like, all right, Dad, you here? All right, I can check every room, and then you're out. You're moving on to the next place. There's a GD Cat 5 hurricane coming. Another thing, too, when they're trapped in the cellar, which I'm not really revealing anything, right? That's in the trailers. They're trapped in the cellar. I think easily you could have pried open those open bricks that are behind them because they're in the crawl space underneath the house, right? Barry Pepper's he's got a metal shovel. I bet you she could take her little sweatshirt, wrap it around there, and pull it because there's scenes where the foundation is lifted up by the arches or whatever you call those, the metal braces.
Right.
So anyway, those are my only issues with the film, really. But overall, I had a hoot with this thing. And I got to tell you, it's great to see Barry Pepper in action, even if he's here strictly only to suffer. I feel like he's a toy for Aja to torment. Listen, it's not terribly scary, but I'll tell you, it is a blast, and it's a fun roller coaster ride. And I got to tell you better be at least 48 inches tall, baby, because this thing is the thunderbolt you've been waiting for. If you want a lean, mean horror film, Matt, that's a lot of fun, I think Crawl delivers the goods. What are your thoughts? You agree? I'm assuming you agree with everything I said. You've rethought your position, and now you're like, wow, Chris, you are entirely right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say I didn't like it. I did like it. I think it is what it is. It knows what it is, and it delivers. I had a good time watching it. I liked it. You know, like I said, I mean, minor quibbles aside, to your point, he tries to inject this like sense of drama or stuff that we don't really care about. But I mean, he moves it along real quick. I mean, it's 87 minutes long, and it gets to the gator eating, which is all we're really there for. And he knows it, so that's fine.
I'm glad to hear that, Matt. So, what are you going to give Crawl?
I'm going to give it a B+.
Interesting. I don't know what to do because I feel like, man, to have such a disparity between our two scores blows my mind. Because I have a B+ as well.
Well, yeah. Okay. Woo, man.
So, there you are.
I'm glad we agree for once.
Welcome back, Barry. You know, one thing I was thinking about too. I saw this online. I'm like, yeah, this is really true. So at one point, Criterion, you know the Eclipse series Criterion does?
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, Eclipse is other films that they purchase, they license to release, but they don't get a full Criterion treatment, right? It's just a collection of films, maybe like lesser known Kurosawa or whatever the case may be. Initially, Eclipse was supposed to be their cult line. It was going to be all horror and cult films, but they changed their mind. And I feel like we need one of those. We need a Criterion for horror.
Right.
Now, I don't know if it'll ever happen because it's so hard to pin down all those licenses. Plus, I don't know what many studios that would maybe give those up because there's so much. It would cost so much to get the license compared to how cheap the films are made. They're so successful, right? The return on a horror film, because you don't need to hire name brand actors half the time, right? You just got to get the right scares and the effects. And that's pretty much where all your budget goes to. So I don't think it's really possible. I would say, Matt, we should look into it, starting our own Criterion for horror. So we have to figure out though, what we would call it. And
very good.
Well, I think the first problem is Scream Factory, I guess, is trying to be that market.
Right.
But I don't know. And there's so many other ones out there. There's Grindhouse, Vinegar Syndrome, Synapse, right? There's so many other ones too. But I feel like there isn't one Criterion. Everybody does good stuff, but I don't know. There's something I was thinking about. Fair enough. I have no idea what I'm talking about, Matt. Let's go ahead, as usual. and keep the train rolling, let's talk about what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. I'm surprised how long it took them to announce this one and how long it's taken to come out, but now's your chance to check it out.
This body, it has the power I need. I feel a connection to it. I can't explain. This could be who I am.
You've been given a chance to start over with a clean slate. How many of us get that?
Why did an enemy warship respond to me? Because I knew that ship. I've been on others like it, haven't I? Haven't I?
Oh, whatever you were, it's not who you are now.
I'm a warrior, aren't I?
That is Alita Battle Angel, a pretty entertaining sci-fi film with lots of great action and really some superior special effects. Mm-hmm. So you can catch up with that being released from Best Buy with a steelbook. Target's got a USB charging wristband that reads Warrior. It's kind of weird. And there's a $200 collector set, Matt, which includes a 64-page book, a certificate of authenticity, and 2 framed concept art prints. There's a bunch of featurettes on the making of the film and some interviews. Robert Rodriguez is one of his 10-minute cooking schools, of course, and a 2005 art compilation where Cameron goes over his original concept art for the film back when we still called it Battle Angel Alita. Mm-hmm. So I think that might be interesting. One of the bigger disappointments of this year, or at least for me, is Hellboy. The Neil Marshall, David Harbour attempted relaunch of the franchise. Best Buy has 2 different steel books. That is a bold call, Best Buy. And it is a 3-part documentary, some deleted scenes, and some pre-visualizations, which reminds me, I went to my Best Buy last week, Matt, and they were trimming the movie section.
It's only a matter of time.
The guy said they're going to focus just on new releases. People just aren't really buying catalog stuff.
Yeah.
That's because they sell it still for like $25, $30 for like a Blu-ray.
Right.
And 4K, it's just, I'm just really disappointed, though. It's just like another nail in the coffin for physical media. You know, you're really not going to... Target did that about a year ago. Yeah. And now Best Buy is doing the same, and I just found it pretty disappointing. The Leica animated film Missing Link, featuring the voice talents of Hugh Jackman, Zoe Saldana, and Zach Galifianakis, is being released. These films seem to get like no traction, though. The ones I've seen have been really good, but like Coraline, right? I think that's the one maybe people are most familiar with.
Yep.
But that's coming out, includes audio commentary by the director Chris Butler and a bunch of making of featurettes. Master Z, The Ip Man Legacy, starring Jin Zhang, Dave Bautista, Michelle Yeoh, Tony Jaa, Yan Liu, and Chrissy Chow. Since his duel with Ip Man, Ching Tin Chi has left his fighting days behind and settled down to an ordinary life with his son. One day he runs into a debt-ridden opium addict and single-handedly saves her from a gang of goons sent out by Sao Se Kit. In retaliation, the mobster burns down his home and shop, and things just get all butt-kicking from there. Did you know this year, Matt, they tried to relaunch the Critters franchise?
I've seen like the image being flashed across things, I guess, through my various algorithms, but I've not bothered to look into it at all.
Well, now's your chance. Critters Attack is being released. There are 3 making of featurettes, scene-specific commentary with the director, Bobby Miller, and a critter. And then there's an 89-minute runtime with enhanced content of approximately 22 minutes. I don't know what that means. New to Blu-ray, Criterion is releasing Do the Right Thing with a new 4K restoration. Includes a ported-over commentary featuring Spike Lee and some others, an introduction by Spike Lee, new interviews with a costume designer, camera assistant, and writer, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I actually pre-ordered this as part of the Criterion sale, so it'll be showing up, hopefully, at my door on Tuesday. And it's also some deleted and extended scenes. Criterion is also giving us 1984, a brand new 4K restoration of that film, supervised by the cinematographer Roger Deakins, and new interviews as well. Arrow is releasing a new, 4K scan of the original negative of Weird Science. It also includes, through seamless branching, a 97-minute extended version and a whole bunch of interesting stuff. There's the edited for TV version as well included on this, and some brand new interviews. Were you a fan of Weird Science? I know it was a big classic in the 80s. I remember liking it, but I think we did it for the nostalgia marathon.
We did. Yeah, we did. And we were not, it didn't, a lot of it doesn't hold up.
Sadly, no.
No.
Arrow is also releasing Loveless, starring Willem Dafoe. Trouble ensues when a motorcycle gang stops in a small southern town while heading to the races at Daytona. A brand new 2K restoration from the original camera negative, and a whole bunch of other featurettes. I'm not familiar with this film at all, I confess, but I love me some Willem Dafoe. Troop Beverly Hills, continuing our streak of Shelley Long movies being released on Blu-ray from last week. And then Pacific Heights, the Michael Keaton, I think it's Matthew Modine and Melanie Griffith film. This is the film he did after Batman. And I was all in on Michael Keaton at that point, and I watched this, I'm like, what the hell is this? Did you ever see Pacific Heights?
No, I didn't.
He plays a guy, so is it Modine? I can't remember. And Melanie Griffith rent him like an apartment or a room or like a house near their house. I don't know what it is. And he goes in and starts tearing it up and doing stuff, and he becomes a squatter. And it's a real estate legal thriller. It's really weird. So that's coming up. And then being released on 4K, The Doors with Val Kilmer, a film I've never seen because when it came out, I hated The Doors. Now I am indifferent to The Doors.
Progress. Although you're not really missing out on much, to be quite honest with you.
I like Riders in the Storm. That's about it.
There you go.
What should we be streaming this week?
So to kind of go with Crawl, I'm going to recommend Open Water. It's available on Hulu. It's about a couple who go out on a scuba trip and they get left behind inadvertently by their tour guide, and they are basically floating out in the open water when they're found by sharks. It is a lean 80 minutes, and it is just a terrifying film, and it's just one of the hundreds. It's like reason 102 of why I never get in the ocean. So there you go.
Fair enough. I just want to take a couple of minutes then and talk about some rumors that came out yesterday. Have you heard anything about Bond 25?
I have not.
So supposedly, again, spoilers, I guess. This is all rumor. We don't know if it's for sure, but it's reported a couple different places now. Lashana Lynch is playing Agent 007.
Okay.
That James Bond is in retirement.
Okay.
And she is the new 007.
Okay.
And she comes to him for help and kind of brings him back in. And we'll see how that all shakes out. But there has been, of course, a little mini uproar in the dark corners of the internet.
Right.
That 007 cannot be a woman or a person of color or a woman of color.
Okay.
And I think this is an interesting idea by Barbara Broccoli and is it Richard Maybaum? I think he's still there. To kind of progress and kind of just slowly kind of put their foot in the door for having a James Bond of another ethnicity.
Okay.
White or Scottish or Irish, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great idea. And I kind of can't wait to see how it all turns out. I think it really not only puts a foot in the door, but potentially blows the door open for who the next Bond will be, because this is Craig's last film.
Right.
So I'm really curious now to see where they go. I think Idris Elba is, not to be ageist, maybe just too old at this point.
Okay.
But there are a lot of young actors who could really pick up this role and run with it. And I love the fact that now that I think they're hinting that it's going to be wide open.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? Do you have any?
No, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, I guess really, I have no issue with it being 007. I guess it's, the whole thing about James Bond being a code name. I don't know if they're going to go that route. I mean, that would be interesting if it's not an actual guy. I will tell you one thing, though. There is one, you can't blow James Bond wide open. There is one thing that no one will ever sit for about James Bond, and that's if he is not British, or at least from the British Isles. If they tried to make him an American or a Frenchman or something like that, people would lose their minds. So even if it was the actor was an American, they would not be able to take it. So
I think I'd be one of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, like James Brolin tested for the role at one point. I don't know if you can actually see that online.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
But
I'd
even
agree
if
with
he played it, even if he played the character as British, you couldn't get an American actor.
that would be all right with.
Okay.
But I would
'Cause
want.
I don't even
his
think.
origin as a character to still be.
Yeah, I don't even think that people who really like James Bond, I think the British would lose their minds if like they got an American actor, even if he was being like putting on a British accent and still playing him as British, they wouldn't accept it. Although it's okay for a Brit to be Superman. Which
yeah,
it's
a Welsh
not.
guy played Batman, right? I don't
Right,
see what the big
exactly.
deal is.
You know,
So-
British. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with that, but I just wouldn't want to. I mean, listen, we got Felix Leiter. I've been saying it for years now. They should do I love Jeffrey Wright. I think he's great as Leiter, but they should do a whole spin-off of that where it's like a Bourne thing. That level of action instead of him being just a typical rundown kind of like a spy. I want him to be a super spy like Bond. They could do a whole franchise with that. Like
Right.
they almost tried to do with Jinx and Halle Berry.
Right.
They could do a whole thing make a whole franchise out of this stuff. I mean, I get why they don't want to do it, but I think I would love to see a kick-ass Felix Leiter. But anyway, kudos. I'm curious to see how it all turns out.
I am too.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about a film, Matt, that I have been dying to see for a couple years now. David Robert Mitchell's follow-up to, I think, one of the best horror films of the decade it follows. Let's talk a little bit about Under the Silver Lake.
Stay quiet.
What?
It means stay quiet. It's a hobo code.
Really?
Yeah. Hobos and rail riders used it a lot in the 1930s. Here. Take a look. They used it to let people know who was cool, who wasn't, what houses offer food, if there was a doctor in town that might be sympathetic to travelers, that sort of thing.
Okay, so why is it in Sarah's room? And who are they telling to be quiet?
I don't know. Maybe you.
I love doing this to you, Matt. Tell the fine folks at home, what is Under the Silver Lake all about?
You'll notice that we had two films here. One is about alligators eating people, and that would be the entire plot point. And Crit took that one for himself. So now here we are, leading me to try and explain this film. Okay, Andrew Garfield plays a young man, kind of down on his luck, a bit of a loser, living in Southern California. He catches the eye and spends not even really a night. He just kind of hangs out with a night for a woman in his complex that he's never seen before, and then she abruptly moves in the night, and he becomes obsessed with trying to find her.
Well done. I think you pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Chris.
So
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. 139 minutes. I want to profess my love for It Follows. It is a fantastic horror film.
It is.
Creepy as when I would describe it to people, Matt, I would get goosebumps just talking about it. So Mitchell follows it up with Under the Silver Lake, kind of a modern noir.
Right.
And here are the first three notes, the first three words in my notes. Nope. Sorry. No. It aptly, I think, apes the classic noir, specifically Hitchcock at some points.
Yep.
It's scored and shot like a classic film noir with the dissolves, right? And then the swelling of the strings. And let me just say, Disaster Piece delivers another fantastic score. His score for It Follows is one of my favorites, and because it's so juicily synth heavy. I mean, that thing is everything I love in a horror film, score wise. It's like Alan Howarth and John Carpenter somehow elevated to. I can't describe it. It's just great.
Mm-hmm.
And this film has a great score as well. Another thing that Mitchell tries to do is he puts his hero character, but he flips him on his head. So other film noirs are down and out detective or whoever it is he's kind of a bum, but he's a bit of an alcoholic, but there's still a bit of charm there within him, and you still kind of root for him, right? But Mitchell presents Andrew Garfield, who is our star here. He's wholly unlikable. And I get it that it's a play on the hard-boiled, drunkard, down-and-out detective. I get that. But he forgets to inject even a dusting of charm in him. And I hated him. I had no empathy or interest in seeing him on screen at all. I feel like it's too focused on establishing weird LA. creating an atmosphere that tries to add credibility to the conspiracy theories that Garfield and the people he enacts try to do. It's like he watched Hitchcock and Lynch and got high and kind of came up with this thing. And listen, sometimes it works and there are some fun moments. And I think in the end, I have to respect Mitchell for taking some of the chances he does. This is clearly his vision, and I respect and appreciate that. It's just that for me, Matt, he never pulls all the strings together tightly enough for me. And in the end, the resolution is flat. What were your thoughts?
Well, Chris, I agree with everything that you said. Garfield is completely unlikable as a character. They try in aspects of Hitchcock and Lynch into this thing, and it never really kind of melds close together. And the ending just feels flat and unearned and just inconsequential, anticlimactic. It has some really great pieces to this. I think there are some really creepy scenes. And at first I was kind of like, is this thing... A couple parts of this, I was like, is this thing leading towards a horror movie? Because he makes some really creepy images with the owl woman and the dog killer and all that kind of stuff. So I think he had a lot of good ideas, and some of it taken in a nutshell or taken in pieces are pretty good, but as a whole, it's just kind of an incohesive mess.
Yeah, I really can't come up with anything else to say that outside of that. I mean, it really is. It's really disappointing.
It is.
I was really looking forward to this thing, and it's just too bad.
I'm sorry.
What are you going to give Under the Silver Lake, young man?
I guess I'm in a generous mood tonight. I think I'm going to give it a C, which may be pretty high, but yeah. I guess I could. I mean, I applaud the attempt, but I think hopefully this is a sophomore slump, so we'll see.
I have a C for it as well, shockingly.
Wow, right on the button tonight.
Yeah. That is impressive. So place your bets, folks. If you had a chance to see Under the Silver Lake, currently streaming on Amazon Prime, if you're a Prime member, and available on all the other digital outlets, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. All right, it's going to be some fun time now. Let's go ahead, Matt, and break down the Rotten Tomatoes Score Contest.
My day just got a whole hell of a lot better. Mr. Nobody, you want to tell me why you just put me in a room with this tea and crumpets eating criminal some bitch?
You got a big mouth on a small head. Coming from prisoner 6753.
Apply for a job, head asshole?
You know, I think that tight t-shirt's cutting off the circulation in your brain. You should get a bigger size.
I can't believe... just think, Matt, likely 2.5 hours of just that repartee back and forth between The Rock and Jason Statham in Hobbs.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, guys.
A film that didn't quite make the cut. Now, Matt, I'm looking... Here's the thing. I don't know if we want to call an audible right now. We have 7 films. We did 9 last year. Do you want to add a couple more? Do you want to do Hobbs vs. Shaw, and then what was the other one you mentioned?
The Kitchen?
No. You did Zombieland Double Tap.
Oh, Zombieland Double Tap, yeah. Yeah, sure, we can. Why not?
All right, we'll get it up to 9. I still have my Hobbs vs. Shaw, so I just have to come up with a Zombieland one. Okay. And that comes out October 18th, so between Joker and Terminator. Man, Gemini Man might be a good one to do, too, because, I don't know.
that looks not good. Looks not good.
All right, so I'm going to try and... What am I going to do for Zombieland? Let me think. What did the first one do? Do we know?
No, we don't, but I know it was pretty high. It was pretty beloved. It's going to be... I don't know.
You want to guess? I'm pulling it up right now. You want to guess?
Let's say 86.
Whew. 90.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. All right. We'll start everything off then, Matt. I hope you got your pants on. I know it's late. Let's start everything off with Hobbs v. Shaw. What are you giving me? Oh, wait. Let's go back and forth. So I'll say it, and I'll give you my score, and then when you go, you give me your score.
Got it.
How's that
fair
work?
Enough.
That make sense to you?
That's fair.
Okay, I'm going 38% on Hobbs vs. Shaw. Now remember, this is Price is Right rules.
Right.
This is the closest you get without going over.
Right. No matter how much that is. Because
right.
I think, apparently Chris reminded me that I never paid him for the last one that I lost. But I know he was really upset because I actually made it a game because he was over by like 2 points and I was like under by like 30, but somehow I still won that round.
I pulled
He was
it
very
out.
upset about it. He was very upset about that.
I ended up pulling it out. But yeah, so like to explain, so I have 38%. So if Hobbs versus Shaw comes in at 70 and Matt says 72 or 71, I win.
That's right. And that's only fair. You got to respect the $1 bid. That's what comes. That's all about. Price is Right. All right, so I'm gonna go Hobbs and Shaw. I'm gonna give it a 42%.
Oh,
a little higher.
That's too close, but okay. So Scary Stories. What do you got?
All right, Scary Stories. It's a kid film, although it does look pretty creepy. I'm gonna give it a 67%.
Man, dang it!
Is that exactly what you picked?
I have 62.
Okay.
All right. It too, Matt. I have 71%.
Okay, so this one's a big one. I'm gonna say 86%. I said the first one got 85, so I'm gonna say 86.
All right.
So you said 71?
71.
Okay.
Go ahead. What's next?
So Joker, I gave it a 76%.
I think you were way over.
You think so?
I think so. If you look at that director's filmography,
yeah,
you're leaning in hard to Joaquin.
Yeah,
which may be the right decision. I got 52.
That's really low.
Yep.
But Price is Right rules. It could.
That's right.
It could work out. You're right. I'm not very confident of Todd Phillips, but Joaquin he's put out some good films, especially as of late. So I have confidence.
Okay.
Dr. Sleep, Chris. What do you got?
Dr. Sleep. What do I have? Where'd it go? Oh, it's on I typed it up, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay. 65.
Okay. Oh, God, this kills me. I put 71%.
All right, you said 71?
Yeah.
Okay. I got 65. You got 71. Ooh, I think that might be a good one for me. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. See, the problem is even if it's a great film, it'll still be compared to the original Shining, and I think that's what's really going to be a big problem for it.
All right. So then next up is Zombieland 2, right? Double tap?
Yes. All right.
I go first, right?
I gave you Dr. Sleep. You went first for Dr. Sleep.
Oh, but if you name it, you're supposed to go first.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Oh, well, then you go first for Zombieland, and we'll straighten it out.
Okay. 82%.
Interesting. I have 74.
Okay.
82%, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So then Terminator Dark Future, I have 71.
Really? You're that confident? See, I'm not confident about that one. I put 58%.
You may take me on that one. I'm pretty confident you will, actually. All right, go ahead.
All right, so Knives Out, our boy Ryan Johnson. I'm giving it 82%.
Ah, that's what I have. Damn it.
Well, then I guess the only fair thing to do is either one of us takes 81 or 83.
Yeah, I know. Damn it. I feel like the number is going to be 85.
Okay.
But I'm scared to say that.
Well, I would if this was Price is Right, do either 1 point higher or 1 point lower if you think I've gone over.
I think you're under.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go 83.
Okay. That's going to be a good one. I mean, the contest could be completely decided by that point, but I'm still going to be interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah. And then finally, the granddaddy of them all.
Yep.
Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down?
I am. I am.
91%. I'm taking a big risk going that high.
You are. You're taking a real big risk going that high. So I know the other two, they easily cracked 90%.
That's what I'm relying on.
Yeah. As much as it kills me to say this, I'm not as confident. I'm going to say 85%. I think the fatigue is going to be real, especially with everything else going on with it.
You said 85?
85.
That might be the right way to go. All right, I just want to look at this real fast. So 93 for Force Awakens, and then Last Jedi, because people are dumb, they didn't like it. 91. Yeah, I'm going 90. I'm not going to be scared. So I'll post these online. I'll take a picture of it and put it on Instagram. So to run it down again, Hobbs v. Shaw, I have 38, Matt has 42. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I have 62, Matt has 67. It 2, 71% good guys, 86% bad guys. Joker, 52% me, 76% Matt. Dr. Sleep, 65% me, 71% Matt. Zombieland 2 Double Tap, 74 me, 82 Matt. Terminator Dark Future, I had 71, he had 58. Knives Out, that's going to be the tight one right there. I said 83, he said 82, and I initially had 82.
Yeah.
So watch it. Since we both said 82, I'll bet you it's going to hit 82. I'm going to kick myself. I still think it'll be 85 in the end. And then Star Wars, 91 me, 85 you.
Mm-hmm.
That, man, I am really looking forward to that. Is it going to be...
Well, it is for one of us. It's going to be for one of us.
For
right?
Matt, will you be 0 for 3?
Oh, God, I hope not.
We'll see how it goes. I'm very excited about this. What scores would you give those films? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Next week, Matt, what are we seeing? Where's our handy calendar? We are going to check out, oh yeah, the live action, air quotes, version of The Lion King and Claire Denis' High Life, which I am really excited about. That should make for a fun episode. Go ahead and check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. There's search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. All right, Matt, why don't we go ahead and take an extended break, and we will see you all soon.
You stewed, buttwad.